All right, so we are back for week 12 of Football with the Great American Youth. We missed last week. Happy Thanksgiving. We missed it. We were busy. Timing didn't work out. We weren't able to do it, but we're back to you with this week. We included last week. We're not forgetting about it, but regardless, I mean, if you've been following along, the standings indicate that we're limping across the finish. This has not been the best fantasy football season for either one of us. So you didn't miss much last week in terms of fantasy football.
Yeah, it's been a rough year, but we're happy to make it to the end of the year. Sorry about last week. Thanks for coming back though.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess we'll get into stories of this week. We're not going to touch on NFL last week. We'll just keep it to this week. Josh Jacobs, historical day. We'll get into why Josh Jacobs is an important figure, a little bit later, but huge day for him on Sunday. He got, what was this, like 300 total yards
Yeah,
or
when he
something?
broke that one at the end, that was wild.
Yeah, and then the 86-yard run at the end to win the game. It was crazy. He's been awesome all season long, but this game really was just like the pinnacle of it. It's a shame he's been playing for such a trash Raiders team, but he's definitely like going to earn his money this offseason. So good for him. Great day. And the Raiders have been playing well recently. Maybe, they could end the season with kind of a respectable record.
You never know. They're still alive for the playoffs, so we'll see. Next up, obviously, the Eagles, they won again. They took down the Packers with Aaron Rodgers getting hurt there. Jordan Love coming in there at the end, honestly looking good. I mean, he only made a few passes.
Played pretty well.
They had a touchdown. They scored 10 points in like 3 minutes, and he arguably made the offense look more efficient. I know it was technically maybe garbage time, but he did keep them alive. It does kind of beg the question, are they going to keep starting Rodgers?
Yeah.
Especially with like the season's over. Do you keep starting this veteran when you have
and he's been banged up as well too. Like I think
not rookie, sorry.
Yeah, I was saying it's like his second
but no, he's about to go into his an option year, his 5th year.
Okay.
And so like they're either gonna have to pay him soon or you let him go. So you kind of want to see what he has.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I mean, he's good. Yeah, that's the other thing is like, when are they going to see what he has? Like, what other time are they going to have to do that? I feel like now Rodgers has been banged up already, kind of. He's been playing through some stuff. Just let him rest and see what Love can do with these rookie receivers. And maybe then I guess that begs the question now, are you like going to trade Rodgers this offseason? Like, what happens if Love does well? Like, is Rodgers then done in Green Bay? Which is it's interesting to see how that goes.
I think he might be, but the thing is, you can't just trade him. You can't sit him the rest of the year and then trade him. His value is going to go down. You got to make him look good at least a little bit, I think. Well, let's get in that last story. Two pretty bad teams battled in the Panthers and Broncos. I honestly thought, most people thought coming into this year, Broncos easily win this game. Not even a question. It's a gimme. Not really. The Panthers brought in their 3rd string QB of the year, Sam Darnold. And they beat them they were leading by like 10, 17 most of the game. They kind of dominated that game, and Russell Wilson does not look good. You got yelled at by his defensive lineman.
This is Mike Purcell just like screamed in his face. They looked, I don't know what's up with them or Russ in particular. He looks garbage. Like, he looks really bad. It's crazy. And I think they're going to end. I feel like they'll probably end up firing their head coach. I feel like he's going to be done, but I don't think it's really his fault. I feel like it's just Russ has been so garbage. Like, what were they like if they didn't trade for Russell Wilson and they had the record they had right now? Not that he would be a lock to keep his job, but wouldn't be the same situation. But you do that and you have Russ and you have the expectations you had, and this is what you get. Like, you might as well have just kept Drew Lock at this point if that's what you were going to do. Like,
exactly. Or trade for Geno instead.
Or
let's get in the upset and blowout of the week.
Yeah, so upset of the week. I didn't watch this game, but from what I understand, the Ravens sold at the very end, and allowed the Jaguars to come back. It seemed like the Ravens were winning most of the game and allowed the Jaguars to come back, win at the very end. Ravens have been, I mean, they're 7-4, so it's not like they're bad. It's not like they're really in danger of missing the playoffs, but they just have, the offense has looked stagnant. The defense is struggling with injury. They just haven't looked as good. And for the Jaguars, this is a big win. They've kind of looked like kind of a team on the cusp, like they've lost some close games, looked all right, but not good enough to win. And be able to beat a team like the Ravens, definitely, you know, again, maybe not for this season will mean anything, but definitely good to see that this team has that level of talent and can do that.
I think the biggest part about that victory, arguably, was they did it without Travis Etienne, which really sucked for me. But yeah, it's still, nonetheless, it was still impressive. Everyone played well on their team. Ravens sold again in the fourth quarter. It kind of made me happy because I mean, obviously we have some Ravens fans that are listening to this. But yeah, they're aware their team chokes a lot in the fourth, so yeah, we'll see. Blowout of the week, we went with the Jets over the Bears. There weren't too many high scoring deficits. Like the Dolphins game would have been, but then the Texans came back at the end there.
Yeah.
Kind of a close game, 30-15.
That game should have been the blowout of the week.
It was expected to be there.
Yeah.
But yeah, no other games were too close. The Jets with Mike White, they look good. I mean, he had 3 passing touchdowns. I think 300.
Better than Zach Wilson.
Yeah. I mean, Zach Wilson's, I assume, now the backup. Like, you can't start him now,
he's
right?
third string. I don't think he even dressed for the last game. I think Flacco was the backup. I think Wilson's, I mean, maybe he's not. I feel like he has to be done in New York, especially after that. Like, I mean, we didn't talk about it last week because we didn't have the episode, but the game in Chicago, I think it was, and then his response to that as well. Like, I wouldn't, like, that team doesn't want to play for him. And Mike White, that game was better than anything Zach Wilson has done this year, like in terms of a passing performance. He got all of those receivers involved, a lot of guys who've been disgruntled and who felt like they weren't involved in the offense. Elijah Moore got a touchdown. Yeah. Where's Elijah Moore been all season? Mims, like all these guys who have been kind of iffy with Wilson as QB actually got the ball.
He got them involved. Exactly. Yeah.
All right, so Commanders check in. We were talking about Ravens fans had an unfortunate L. We were able to take a very fortunate, hard-fought W again. I think, is it like we've won 4 out of our last 5 or 5 out of our last 6? We're on a good roll. We're on a very good roll. Heineke keeps winning. Wentz was active this week, didn't play, didn't need him. Heineke did well. Brian Robinson, his best game of the season.
No Chase Young.
Over 100 yards. Chase Young's still not back. He's going to be back.
Give him time.
Important to note, Chase Young wasn't there, but it was our defense that won us this game at the end. Clutch interception by Kendall Fuller.
He's a beast.
Sealed the game, you know, just kind of is what it is. We held the Falcons back. Granted, Falcons aren't the best team, but
they're not bad. They're a solid team. They're like an okay team. I'm not saying good, not bad. They're middle of the road. I think it's a good win to pick up, especially keeping a streak alive and winning 4 of the last 5, something like that. It's big.
Yeah, as we know all too well, any wins are good wins. Can't complain about the wins that you get at all.
Especially after being 1-4. 7-5 right now is, I guess that's 6 of the last 7, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. All right. I think we got some big news from our league.
Yeah. So before we get into before we get into any of the last stuff, today was officially the trade deadline. Like it passed, or you're going to see this tomorrow. So Wednesday, today was the trade deadline. It's passed. We're done. Not any deals today, but we have a few trades to go over. The first, pretty significant one. So I've been, tossing around top running backs, basically. That's my new strategy. For this one, I recently traded for Derrick Henry. You saw that, for Nick Chubb, and we shipped him out just as fast. I got David Njoku, Josh Jacobs, who we just mentioned. You'll see how he did for my team last week. He's now the new RB1 after that performance. And then Lamar Jackson. And I gave up Hayden Hurst, Derrick Henry, obviously, and Kirk Cousins. So pretty, solid, fair trade. Again, like effectively just a top running back for a top running back. And then I'm getting Lamar too. So
it's a good trade. Yeah, so another not as big trade. Just Sammy and Matt basically swapping tight ends. Especially with Elijah Mitchell going down, kind of a pointless trade. Kind of helps Sammy out a little bit. Frymouth has more upside, I think, than Hurst, especially with Jamar Chase going back. But
I picked Hurst up off of waivers when I traded him to Sammy. So Matt pretty much traded Frymouth, who was a top 10 tight end, for a waiver wire guy. Like, that's really what he did, because Elijah Mitchell doesn't mean anything. So yeah.
Last but not least, arguably one of the biggest trades of the season. Big for us, big for the podcast. I gave up a guy I've loved two people I've loved all season. It was really hard to let go of them, but Dameon Pierce and Deebo Samuel. Dameon Pierce has been struggling, like 2 points the last few games. I just didn't really trust him. I needed an upgrade. I knew Anthony was trying to ship away Chubb after giving away Derrick Henry, and I was like, you know what? I need to make a splash. I have this depth. One last playoff push. This will be it. I gave up Deebo, gave up Pittman. Pittman I didn't care about. Deebo hurt a little bit, especially seeing what he did the game after. That sucked. But Marquise Brown, D-Hop, weird combo, but I'll try it out. It's worth it. I still have some bench depth at receiver that I think could work. So I'll see.
Yeah, I would say my team, I feel like, is better after this. Like, I don't know. I sent a text after I was officially eliminated from the playoffs. My team was up for sale. I was willing to trade any and everyone. Feel like they didn't believe me. And look, like, I'm out of the playoffs, so I was going to make this fun for myself somehow and keep myself engaged in the league. So this is how I did it. I feel like I've made my team better. And you'll see, it's kind of, I might be eliminated from the playoffs, but things are looking up for me. I feel positive about where my team is at right now. So I guess from the trade deadline, we'll go ahead into week 11 results. I'll let you take that.
2 weeks ago, I fell again for the third straight time to Matt Cohen. It's kind of close game at first, and then Najee, of course, went off on me, which really upset me because he's the guy that I drafted with my first overall pick, and that's best game of the season by far. Next up, Matt took down Anthony, unfortunately, helping Matt out to a big win. Ian took down Sammy. Sammy dropped his second game of the season. Kind of big there. Still gonna hold on to that 1 seed though for now. And then Adwin took out Joel. Big win for him. 145. Yeah, that was a big.
Yeah, 145 is crazy.
Of course, another game where my ex-players kind of went off. Olave and Pollard. Hurts to see. Then Yusuke took down Alex. Yusuke pretty much staying alive here. You got to respect the hustle. Devontae Adams had a big play there in that game. Kind of rooting for him. All right, let's go to week 12.
Yeah, so week 12, I guess we'll start off with the first result, the biggest one, in my opinion. We'll get into it a little bit later, but I broke my 7 or 8 game losing streak and got a win. I took down Matt Cohen. I'm finally, I'm back in the win column. I'm feeling good.
Oh, yeah.
My new acquisitions were all my time. We'll get into it later, but I'm just feeling great about, finally getting a win. I'm not losing out. It's nice to feel that and know that. Fortunately for you, I can't have that same level of enthusiasm. Ian took you down. He just had a high scoring week, kind of is what it is there. Matt Levin, again, we saw another 140 something week, 142 against Joel. Sammy picking up a win against Yusuke, 120 to 105 or 119.5 to 105. And then Alex picking up a win against Adwin, 122 to 109. Pretty high scoring week across the league. But, pretty standard results. Kind of what you would expect, I think, out of all of these matchups.
Not too many surprises, you're right.
Yeah. But we'll start off with, I gotta talk about my win. I gotta talk about my dub. My new first of all, so you can take a look at my roster, remade roster, totally new.
One player.
The only guys I drafted here was Kirk in terms of my starters. Kirk, Evans, and Gibson were the only guys I drafted. Everyone else has come through something else. And this week, my team put up numbers. Lamar did great. Josh Jacobs, 45. Pittman, 15. He's the Colts wide receiver 1. And with Matt Ryan, he's been really solid with Matt Ryan as quarterback. So it was good to see that connection keep going. And Njoku got a touchdown. He did well. And then Debo was a bit disappointing. But, like, if Debo's my flex, I can't be mad. Like, 115 and Debo didn't have a good game. Granted, Josh Jacobs kind of went off. But Damian Pierce did nothing. Kirk didn't do that much. Like, my team, I feel like everything kind of worked out. I had a good week. Cohen's team was, his team did kind of what his team did. Nothing from his defense, really. His receivers, you could say, underperformed. But, my team was just better this week. And my team, I feel like my team looks better now than it did at any point during the season. All it took was me, pretty much passing around a few top running backs. That's all it took. But now I'm there. Now I have the team I needed this whole time. So glad I'm finally got there and got a win. So hopefully I can get some more, calm myself out of last place and, avoid last place. That's what I need.
Glad you're happy about your performance. I would be too. Big win there.
But I'll let you go. You can.
I'm not happy at all about my. Yeah, I honestly don't even want to talk about this. Yeah, I mean, Ian scored a lot. I probably was not. I don't think I've scored over 130 in a game, so I probably was not going to beat him with that kind of performance. And I don't even think his team did. I don't even think his team did that well. That's the thing. Like, McCaffrey could have scored more. I think Kelsey could have scored more. His team is just
Saquon could have.
Saquon definitely could have. And it was like, yeah, Saquon literally just had that one touchdown. That's pretty much it. I mean, his team's pretty good. And I'm kind of realizing my team doesn't really stack up to that. I think he's got a good shot. I mean, I do think my running backs are close. My top 2 receivers are close. But that's about it. He's got depth everywhere. And, like, Kelsey is huge. Sanders is big. Taysom Hill is big even. Yeah. I'm upset about the loss. I mean, if ETN played, it could have been closer, and Dawson Knox kind of crapped the bed for me, but that's about it for me. Let's take a look at those standings now. I don't want to look at that anymore.
Yeah, so I guess updated standings. This is as up-to-date playoff percentages and standings as there are. Sammy and Ian, both locks for the playoffs now. Alex and Matt Levin, pretty much locks as well at 99, 98%. I mean, it would take them losing out, which at this point probably won't happen. Matt Cohen also looks pretty solid for that last spot. I mean, he's one of the higher scoring points. He's one of the other teams above 1,300, 79% chance. And then that last spot for the playoffs is really where everything's up for grabs. Between Joel, who's at 61%, but as we've talked about ad nauseum, and we'll have him on next week to talk about it. But Joel's team has been ridiculed by multiple people on this podcast. Joel's team has been ridiculed by us on this podcast. We don't feel like he belongs. And, there's only a matter, we'll see if he can make it to the playoffs and actually be there. Yusuke's behind him. He scored 100 more points. Adwin's there as well with the same record as Yusuke. And you're not out of it yet. You got 6%. You were 4% yesterday and you're 6% today. So there's no telling. Maybe something's looking up for you. Maybe the algorithm knows something that we don't know.
You're not wrong, but I just don't know how I'm still alive. Personally, I thought I'd be at 0% after, especially after that game. But I don't know. I mean, I guess I'll see. My points scored is now the lowest in the league after this week. Kind of sucks to see. But yeah, I'm not too far off from you and Adwin and Joel.
Oh, don't put me down. You're 4 away from Adwin, but I got like the whole Josh Jacobs touchdown run.
Yeah,
on you.
You take that out. We're even in points 4. Like, come on.
Yeah, well, I was just a Josh Jacobs away. from being last place.
Literally.
So,
and the scary part about that now is, I guess points for doesn't matter. It's just the loser of the losers bracket is last place, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So points for doesn't really, between us, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I guess it'll matter for the seeding of it, depending on what our final records are. But
honestly, you'd want to be at the bottom because then you play the worst team, right?
That's true. I guess.
I mean, I guess maybe
there's no strategy.
There's no strategy.
I mean, we can look
just
at it
fighting
now.
not to get last.
There's no strategy in the losers bracket. I guess I said last earlier. Our punishment or our last place is the loser of the losers bracket. So who has the worst record at the end of that? I think there are 3 losers bracket games or like consolation games in ESPN. So the goal really, we'll have the ending regular season record, but the goal is to not be last at the end of that. And then I guess if 2 people have the same record, then it would go to points. But yeah, I'm currently last, and I would really like to change that. I'm only 1 game back of you now.
Only one,
but I am out of the playoffs. That scared me. And to be fair, there are 2 games left. Yusuke, I don't think one of Yusuke or Adwin is going to lose out. And if they do, it's very possible that I end up with the same record as one of them, or with the same record as you. There's enough time left. One of them can lose out. I don't feel too bad about it. So, it is what it is. I'm tanking for Wembanyama or whoever else is going to be draftable next year. That's really my goal. But
that's strategy.
Looking at I guess the rest of the playoffs, I think all the playoff matchups are the same. I think the Mats did a swap in their seeds. Matt Levin is 4 and Cohen is 5 now. But other than that, playoffs are the same. Ian's a lock. So, yeah, kind of set.
Oh, yeah. It's the fight not to get last at this point.
Yeah, that is where we are.
Joel, well in the thick of it. Big matchup for you 2 right here.
Yeah, I was saying, like I said, we'll talk about Joel. Hopefully we'll have Joel talk to next week. He's the last one. And this is a pretty big game for the both of us. I guess for him, he's trying to fight for that playoff spot. And for me, trying to fight to not have the worst record. So different things. But it matters just as much. And I'm projected. Both important. I'm projected for more right now. I saw Lamar got hurt today or something though. He had a quadriceps injury, I think, at practice or something like that. So I don't know if that'll impact him, but I feel good about my team. I'm running with the same lineup as last week. There's no reason for me not to. Joel's team is good. I think his team is kind of boomer busty. I am worried about Donovan Peoples-Jones. That kind of scares me, especially with Deshaun back. But I don't know. The rest of that team, I feel like I have more than Joel. So looking forward to this matchup, hopefully getting another win. And we'll go into your game. Big for you as well.
Big week here. I really don't even want the chance to have the same record as Anthony at this point. Nothing against you. I just don't want to be close to last. I liked having that 2-game kind of cushion, but yeah, now I'm kind of fending myself off here. And of course, I'm playing against a guy where if I win, we have the same record, I believe. So yeah, it's me versus Yusuke this week. I hopefully will have Fields back, which I'm hype about. Hopefully ETN plays. If I have Fields, ETN, Chubb, Godwin, I'll feel pretty confident. I mean, he has a really good team, but he's got some tough matchups. Like Stevenson's going up against Buffalo, Kamara against Tampa Bay, Hurts against Tennessee. Chargers have a solid defense. Seattle has
Wilson in Minnesota too.
Yeah, that's a lot of good. Even on his bench, like the guys are playing New England, Indianapolis, all solid defenses. Cincinnati, kind of crazy how that worked out for me.
Chubb against Houston is a crazy matchup for you.
Yeah. Oh my God. That could be a 30. He could drop 30 to 50. I would not be I don't see any way he doesn't get at least 20 carries, at least 100 yards, at least a touchdown. If he doesn't get that, I might drop him because I will be eliminated. If he doesn't get that, I will be eliminated. So I might drop him.
Yeah, this is your last shot at making the playoffs. This is kind of it. This is your season. And I feel like if you beat Yusuke, you'll pretty much, I mean, he won't be eliminated. He'll still have a percentage, but you would have the same record as him. You would pretty much take Yusuke out of the playoffs if you beat him.
I don't know how many points he has on me, but
I guess he probably has more than you. But
the thing is, if I blow him out or something like that's it. Like that's the points for right there.
I mean, this is a big week for you. If you win this week and Joel loses, just like that, you're one game back in the playoffs.
If that ends up happening,
and Joel doesn't have them, and if it's between you and Joel for like points 4, you're like fine on that.
I'm close there.
If it's between you, Joel, or Adwin for points 4, you're close enough. You just need a good week and you'll be fine.
Right. Yeah. It's weird to think about that. I'm still alive with that 6%, and that could be one of the greatest comebacks. We'll remember that. Keep these receipts. We'll see. Before we sign off, let's go through the waiver wire pickups for this week, because obviously,
I guess
buy low, sell high. No more trading anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah, I said past the trade deadline, so we're going to stop telling you to buy and sell players that you shouldn't buy and sell. We'll just tell you to pick up the players with the most projected points. And this week, the player with the most projected points as a running back on waivers was Zonovan Knight. I still don't really know who Zonovan Knight is.
Me neither.
I mean, we can look and see. I don't know, but he's on my team now. I picked him up. You know, he's an essential addition to my squad. He's going to ride my bench proudly. He's an undrafted free agent, maybe. UDFA out of North Carolina State. All right, well, he's a dog, and he did well last week. So looking for more of the same this week. And I think Michael Carter is going to be out. That's a run-heavy offense, so he's going to do well.
Definitely. He should have a good game. I mean, we'll see what they do with James Robinson too. But that was kind of a weird.
Yeah, he was a scratch last game. That was confusing. I guess he's just like they're just like whatever. We don't care.
They must like this guy more, you know. Like there's a reason he's playing and the other guy's not.
Clearly.
Mine. I just picked this guy up 2 weeks ago. It's kind of a waiver wire for over the last couple weeks, but Treylon Burks, he's been good ever since he's been back from injury. Tannehill's been kind of feeding him, and since Tannehill's been back, he picked up a touchdown, like literally picked up a touchdown on a Derrick Henry fumble, and just kind of fell into the red end zone for 6 points. Which if I played him, that would have been nice, but I didn't. I kind of think he could have a big week this week. Going up against the Eagles, they've kind of looked vulnerable, and Treylon Burks has shown he can make these big plays. Kind of interested to see how he does. I kind of have to play him now with, I guess, my 2 starting receivers out with Marquise Brown and D-Hop. So I'm gonna trust my gut. I think I'm gonna start him this week. So at least pick him up if he's available in your league. That's what I recommend.
Yeah, worthwhile for sure.
Definitely. All right. Yeah, we'll sign off here. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you tuning in again. Sorry for missing last week. We'll have Joel here, so come by. Come back.
Yeah, so we'll be back next week for the last week. I guess the last episode of the regular season, I guess, too.
It is. It will be. See you then, guys.